11-month-old Harvey Mucklebust. Great name, by the way. Mucklebust. We'll remember you, Mucklebust. It's like an epic name, Harvey Mucklet. 11-month-old Harvey Mucklebust was suffocated to death at a daycare in Minnesota. Daycare worker Thea Russell was just arrested and allegedly told police she did it for attention. You probably won't see this in the legacy media. This is objectively worse than anything that the liberals have been outraged about in the past, I don't even know, like 20, 30, 40 years. This is objectively worse than anything liberals have been outraged about. This is objectively more evil and concerning than Renee Good, a psychopath who tried to run over an ICE agent and got shot in the process. This is objectively worse. This is worse than George Floyd dying after he was caught high on off of fentanyl and he died because of fentanyl. This is worse than all the criminals that they cried about on death row, the rapists and the murderers. The poor rapists and murderers, right? That's what the liberals say. Every single tragedy that the liberals cried about and screamed about, this is worse than all of that. An 11-month-old baby was suffocated to death at a daycare by a black woman, and no one cares. Liberals don't care because the one who suffocated a baby to death is black. This is how twisted their ideology is. This is how twisted they are. Where they don't care that a baby was suffocated to death, killed intentionally. For what purpose? For attention. They don't care. Why? Because the person who did it was black. So they will turn the other way. They will look the other way, say, oh, that doesn't happen, and gaslight you into oblivion and convince you that white supremacy is the greatest danger in America. While white babies are being suffocated to death by black people. While white teens like Austin Metcalf is stabbed to death by other black kids. It's unbelievable. And they do this with the trans shooters, right? When trans shooters shoot up schools and churches and shoot up children, what do? They look the other way. They don't care. They make it about gun control. Unbelievable. And then as a result, Harvey Mucklebust's grandmother speaks after the 11-month-old was suffocated to death at a daycare. Every day we will say your name. Every day we'll continue to fight for you. And in the end, we'll make sure that justice has been served.
For our family, and my name is Julie Mucklebust, Harvey's Nana. I am providing this statement on behalf of Harvey's dad and mom, Hunter and Catherine, his brother, and our entire family. Harvey was such a blessing to our family, and his death has left a tremendous hole in our hearts. Harvey's fingerprints are on my sliding glass door, and his drool stains still show on his crib sheets. Those are the little things that I'm not ready to wash away. We miss him more than anything in this world. We try to remember with each ray of sunshine, each gentle breeze, and each star in the sky that he's always with us shining down. Harvey, every day we ask ourselves why it had to be you. Every day we live with the pain of what happened to you. But we promise that every day we will say your name. Every day we will continue to fight for you. And in the end, we will make sure that justice has been served. Harvey, we love and miss you. Thank you.
Man, that's heartbreaking, man. That is absolutely heartbreaking. He wasn't even 1 year old. He wasn't even one. And this animal, this absolute animal, thought it appropriate to suffocate him to death. So Rachel Wilson said this, which is a great point in response. I'm begging you, stop buying into the lie that you have to pay strangers who don't care about your kids an hourly wage to do your job being a mother so you can work some crap job that anyone else can do. No one cares for your children like you do. And here's a good response. I pray that I can stay at home with my children someday, but in my current situation, that is not feasible. The women who watch my baby are Christians, so it does ease that part of me that fears over things like this. Rachel Wilson, I understand the difficulty. Unfortunately, pushing mothers into the workforce in huge numbers in the 1970s and 80s has created a two-income economy. There are ways around it. Even if it takes you 3 to 5 years, create a plan and make moves to get yourself out of that situation as soon as you can. And here's the deal, chat. Here's the deal. Do not send your kids to daycare. Stop sending your young children to daycare. First of all, they need you. You're their parent. You're their mother. Stop sending your kid to daycare. I understand the financial hardships. I do. But it is possible to raise your child on one income if you live humbly. It is possible. Stop paying someone else to take care of your child when you should be taking care of your child, especially when he's as young as 11 months. Maybe sending them to school when they're 4, maybe. I understand. Even then, I'm still hesitant because of how terrible the school system is. But stop sending your children to strangers who don't care about your children. It's utter insanity. And I get the financial hardship. I'm not dismissing the hardships that everyone goes through, especially in this economy and in this life. But what I am saying is that if you have children, you have to take that responsibility very seriously. You can't just give up your children and pay strangers whom you don't know, who you can't trust, to take care of your children for you. And ultimately, even besides from the trust aspect, you need to raise your own children. The reason why so many people in Gen Z and Gen Alpha are so broken today is because of negligent parents. Parents who don't raise their children, have their children raised on phones, on devices, have devices, the internet, Roblox, Discord, raise their own children, and then they wonder why their children are so antisocial, they're awkward, they have anxiety, and then they go troon out. Parents, you need to take care of your children. You need to raise your own children in the ways of the Lord, in the ways and the discipline of the Lord. Do not dismiss your children. Do not send your children to be raised by other people, and especially not strangers. The risk is too great. The risk is too great, especially in today's day and age, where crime is rampant, where crime is allowed for certain members of oppressed classes. They can get away with whatever. The national media doesn't cover it. The activists don't do anything about it. The politicians don't talk about it. Nothing happens because it's racist. Why would you send your kid to a daycare center in that kind of environment? In the culture that we live in today, where they glorify the black community, where accountability for the black community is akin to racism and hatred. That is the popular narrative today. That is the mindset that has captured our courts, our judges, our corporations, our government administration, Hollywood celebrities. Why would you send your kid to a daycare center knowing that? Knowing that not only is there violence permissible by the mainstream zeitgeist, but it is overwhelmingly them committing the violent crime in this country per capita. So it's insane to me that parents are okay sending their children to strangers to raise them and paying strangers. Just take the pay cut. There's going to be sacrifices that have to be made to raise your own children, but do so. We live in an age of chaos and disorder and destruction, complete moral rot in all of our institutions. You cannot trust your children with our institutions today. You can't. You absolutely can't. Yes, 100%. We need more stay-at-home mothers and less daycares. Daycares were not a thing in seriously, anywhere. Not only in America, but anywhere. Daycares were not a thing until the 80s when women started to go into the workforce en masse. You know why? Because everyone understood throughout all of history and all of civilizations that women, their primary responsibility is to give birth and raise their children at home. Everyone understood this. This is why no one had daycares, because that's not even a job possibility, because why would you pay someone else to raise your own child for you instead of raising your own children by yourself? Not by yourself, but yourself. Like raising your children yourself. Why would you pay someone else to raise your children for you? And I'm not saying it should only be the mother at home by herself. I'm also of the inclination, and I believe that we should bring back families and communities. So like you said, Phantom the Builder. And if both parents need to work, it should be trusted family members. Family members should be helping to raise the kids. It should be a village. It really should. Because mothers aren't supposed to, and I think it's unrealistic, to expect mothers to raise their children by themselves. Imagine if they have 4, 5, 6 kids. And just the mother herself is the only one raising those children. It's hard. And so grandparents, uncles, aunts, whoever always helped because they raised the children together. Right? It wasn't only the sole responsibility, yes, was on the mother and the father, but they lived in a community among family where they were able to be together and be raised together. So there isn't so much responsibility on the woman to just stay at home with the kids all day. Like, we are beings meant for community. And this whole idea of suburbia and isolating yourself, the nuclear home, like, that's actually anti-human. It is against our nature because we are social creatures. We need to be with people. So then we can't simultaneously say that we want women to live a traditional lifestyle without also creating the infrastructure that allows for a traditional lifestyle. It's not appealing to women to stay at home with the kids just by themselves for the very reason because that's not how life is supposed to be lived. They're supposed to, yes, raise the kids and be primarily to their home, sure, but with other people, with community, with family. They're not supposed to do it by themselves. So I actually sympathize with women who are kind of apprehensive to the idea of just staying home with the kids all day just by themselves because it's hard and it's lonely. And the fact is, you're supposed to do that with other family members helping you, where your children are raised with other children and this is why these homeschool pods are really great because it's mothers supporting each other. Like, this is how we're supposed to live. So we can't just continually sell women on just stay at home with the kids. That's all you have to do because it's not appealing. And to undo their feminism, you have to also talk about the other facets of social living that allow for traditional living. So we got to get back. We got to go back, chat. We just got to go back to the way that we used to live, the way that people used to live, and people were healthier, things were better, communities were more tight-knit, families were tighter together, and now everyone is lonely, miserable, mental health is through the roof, and everyone's just like isolated in their own pods. And it sucks. It sucks. That's not how we're supposed to live. We are social beings. We are social creatures. We are meant for community. Phantom, even women who call us sexist for pushing for stay-at-home moms will sometimes admit we're right. My mom thinks I'm sexist for wanting a wife who will stay at home. Has admitted she wished she was a stay-at-home mom when I was growing up. Yes, absolutely. Like, most women, I'm sorry, they don't hold coherent political views. And it's not a rag on them, really. Or maybe it is. But I met many women like this, too, where they're like, I don't want my daughters to be a stay-at-home mom. But I wish I was a stay-at-home mom so I could have taken care of and been more present for my children. Like, which one is it? If you understand that being a stay-at-home mom is optimal for the child, but that you don't want that for your daughters, like, how does that make sense? That makes no sense. I've seen that a lot too. Yeah.